President Obama get a handle on all the controversies? That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points Memo. According to the latest polling, the president's job approval rating is falling faster than Eric Holder's credibility. The latest Fox News poll has the president's job approval at 44%, 50% disapproving. That's a 3-point drop since the beginning of the year, and the trend is down. The reason? Mr. Obama has not been aggressive in defining Benghazi, the IRS, snooping on reporters, and now snooping on Americans. In fact, his comments have been tepid.
I think it's important to recognize that you can't have 100% security and also then have 100% privacy and zero inconvenience. It should not matter what political stripe you're from. The fact of the matter is that the IRS has to operate with absolute integrity. The whole issue of this of talking points, frankly, throughout this process has been a sideshow. Journalists should not be at legal risk for doing their jobs. Our focus must be on those who break the law.
Okay, fine. But the president has put forth no specific strategies to stop the bleeding in his administration. For example, Attorney General Holder's a lightning rod, but he's still there. There have been no firings at the IRS. There have been no further definition on who screwed up in Libya. So what the president seems to be counting on is that the American public will get tired of all the controversies. It's summertime. The living's easy. We're going on vacation. So is Mr. Obama. Throughout his life, Barack Obama has been patient. When things go against him, he goes to ground. He's not a confrontational man, nor is he a problem solver. We're living in an age where high-tech diverts our attention. The president knows that. He knows that millions of Americans are disengaged, lost in a world of their own making, staring at machines for hours. No longer are fireside chats necessary. Press conferences are simply an opportunity for Mr. Obama to give mini speeches, and his trips around the country are primarily to raise money. This is the new America, where politicians can hide from unpleasant things. The American public gets bored easily. Will they still care about Libya, the IRS, and even domestic spying in August? The president is banking on a no answer to that question. By the way, you may have noticed that Mr. Obama rarely gives interviews anymore, and when he does, they are carefully orchestrated. So what we have now is an executive branch largely unaccountable. Mr. Obama knows he doesn't have to run again. He also knows he can keep quiet and very possibly ride all this stuff out. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, reaction. Join us in Washington, Fox political analyst Charles Krauthammer. And you say?
Well, you have stumbled upon, no, you've staggered upon the truth, Bill, and I think the moment ought to be marked in our calendars.
Enshrined.
Look,
enshrined.
Absolutely. Engraved, actually, in stone. Look, it's absolutely right. There are two things happening here. Number one, it's the strategy of all presidents. When there's trouble out there, you insulate them, you hide them, you put them away, you make sure that all the focus is on people beneath him, you know, either in the cabinet or even lower than that. That's the age-old protection strategy. That's what they're doing. Nothing new here. But what I think is new is Obama's leadership style, which in effect doesn't exist. The man is a bystander to his own presidency. Look at his reaction to the IRS. I am outraged to learn about the IRS scandal. DOJ snooping on AP and our own James Rosen. He says, I'm deeply disturbed by this intrusion onto the press. Even in Benghazi, he expresses his deep regret, and then he says, I have to find out what happened. He's the commander-in-chief. He's the president. He acts as if he's just stumbled upon the scene of an accident, and he's catching up. And he's done that throughout his presidency. The lack of leadership in this administration from the top, from the president, I think is quite unique. Even in the one place where he acted, in Libya, he had to be dragged into it and persuaded. He comes in late, and then he leaves the scene to such an extent that it descends into chaos, and we know how it ends up with 4 Americans slain. This is the strategy of leading from behind, which is simply a kind way of saying, no leadership at all.
All right, but some conservatives don't believe that. They don't believe that Barack Obama is a bystander at all. They believe that he is the puppet master, that he orchestrates all of these things through a strategy of deniability, all right, by his inner circle, and then that they're using the government to do things that benefit him and the Democratic Party. I mean, I get mail, and I'm sure you do, about this stuff all the time. So it's a conspiratorial point of view, but you're just rejecting that 100%. You just say, like, he just doesn't know. So then why is a smart man like that, head of the Harvard Law Review, why would he be disengaged? Why wouldn't he be paying attention? Why would he be so uninformed?
If you're him and you're as ideological as he is, and he surely is, when he came into office, he said in his first State of the Union address, I'm not here to tinker. I'm not here to reform. I'm not a Clinton. I'm going to change America. He went ahead and said I was going to do it. Health care, education, energy. He changed health care. And then he did not succeed with energy. He did not get cap and trade. And then within a year and a half, he loses the House. And he knows that having lost the House, the rest of his agenda will never advance. And that's why he's sort of stuck. He's enjoying the presidency. He golfs a lot. He uses that airplane a lot. He's going to have a lovely few weeks, I think, where is it, in Cape Cod? But to actually be active in anything, he's always leading from behind, even on immigration. He said he would do it in the first term. He didn't do anything about it. He was pushed into it by the party, and they'll have to do something. Gun control. He didn't want to do gun control, and then it exploded on him with Newtown, and then he failed. I mean, this is not, if you're looking at presidents, go back to LBJ, they were interested, they were engaged, and they got stuff done. Some of them didn't succeed. But this man plays the bystander president.
All right. Now, if that's true, if he is truly disengaged from the process and things are going south and people are running wild because they know that, you know, there's no laser on them, that certainly is going to almost destroy his last 3.5 years in office. Number one, if the scandal business continues, the Republicans will make gains in 2014. They have to. You can see the polls now, you know, receding on his behalf on almost everything. Almost, you know, people don't trust the government. They don't think that we're heading in the right direction. The economy's still a mess. Everything. So he has to know that his presidency, his legacy, is in trouble. Does he not?
He does, and in the absence of having him on my couch to analyze why he's doing this, I would give him this advice as a political observer. The thing he should do with the NSA issue is to go on television and to give a speech.
Sure, or hold a press conference.
Well, you know, but what you should do is compose your argument. There are strong arguments in support of the program. There are arguments against it. But surely there are programs in support, very honorable people who are involved in it, who carry it out, who think it's a good idea. It was begun under the previous administration. It's not a cockeyed idea that just happened out of nowhere. Give the case. The president has done nothing. Look what he does in Afghanistan. He triples the number of troops in Afghanistan, and then he says not a word about it for 2 years. So, of course, the public will turn against a war where all they hear about are the casualties and nothing about the war. FDR, everybody up to George W. If you're in a war, you're the president, you're the commander-in-chief, and Americans are dying, you should be explaining it and supporting it. That's not what he does. He may start something, and then he disappears.
All right.